We've all been there. You're packing for your next hunt and you're wondering, well, what do I bring? Do I cut off the handle of my toothbrush? How many squares of TP do I really need to do my morning routine? And you're going down your list, making those hard decisions, and then you get to this massive thing, your spotting scope. You wonder to yourself, do you really need it? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're not alone. I think that's one of the more common asked questions is, do I really need a spotting scope for my Western hunt? And today we're gonna dive into that and break it down and answer that question for you. Now my answer is, drum roll please, really depends. And I know that's a cop-out answer, I get that. But it really does depend on your hunting style, your hunt location, and what your tag is. Those all really play into it, but I'll give you a more precise answer that my answer leans towards no. All right, that's it. Video is over. You got your answer. Make sure to lock up on the way out and hit that subscribe button. I'm just kidding. Obviously, the why is the most important thing to you folks in this answer. So let's break that down. Let's start with style. And I think this really gets divided into two subcategories. And let's start with talking about how many people are you hunting with? If it's just you, if you do the solo game and you had an off season of bad dietary choices and low motivation in the workout game, well then maybe that 45 ounces or more is not worth it for that spotter. But if you're hunting with a couple of different people and you're dividing some of your stuff up, like your water filtration system and someone else is carrying part of my tent, well for me, maybe I'm now considering that spotting scope may be worth that added weight for the benefit. Or maybe I'll just let my friends carry that extra weight, forego the spotting scope, and give my lower back that enjoyable, more lightweight experience that it really craves. Now beyond that, when we're talking about style, I think it's really important to talk about what your target animal is like to you. There's really no denying that spotting scopes come with that extra power, and thus they're better at field judging game at longer distances. So if you're an advanced hunter that knows what the phrase weak G2s on a buck means, or you're looking for that perfectly symmetrical rack, then by all means, the spotting scope definitely belongs in your kit. But on the other hand, if you are just trying to fill the freezer and you are looking for a buck, literally any buck, then a set of nice higher powered binoculars are going to do everything you need, and you can probably save that couple of pounds. Now let's quickly talk about location. And it's really super simple, guys. Do you have a spot where you can see a long ways? And I mean a really long ways, like a mile plus. Well, if you can, then a spotting scope is probably worth it to you. Now obviously we already talked about it does weigh a little bit more. But only having to hike up to one glassing point and being able to see everything from there is probably worth carrying that extra weight versus having to hike to 3-4 different spots to adequately glass this basin with your binoculars. With that said, I don't advocate for using a spotting scope for long-term glassing. Trust me, your medkit's supply of Excedrin migraine is going to thank me. But this is a situation where I think it could be incredibly beneficial to have that spotting scope purely for glassing. Finally, let's talk about tags. And certain tags come with certain requirements to legally harvest an animal. We as a group are going to Colorado for first rifle elk. And if you've never hunted elk in Colorado, they have a certain requirement for antler points to be a legal bull. This is a situation in which a spotting scope is 100% going to be going with us into the backcountry. But beyond that, let's say you draw a once in a lifetime sheep tag and you really need to find that full curl ram to make sure you don't mess this tag up. Again, these are some situations in which a spotting scope is going to be worth its weight in gold. Really what it comes down to, guys, is that weight. Is that weight worth it to the benefit of that increased magnification? A lot of times, like I said, I say no, but it all comes down to your personal preferences and your style. And I'll throw an additional caveat in there of how far are you from the truck? If you're less than a mile from the trailhead, suddenly the scales start to tip and that weight seems to not matter as much to the benefit that you're gonna get from a spotter. But if you're 10 plus miles back in that backcountry, every ounce really counts on your back. And I would recommend going and seeing a psychiatrist because it's just a really long hike for a lot of pain. So there you have it. For my style of hunting, I lean towards leaving this in the truck. It's just not worth the benefit to the weight cost that it gives me. But it is far from a hard and fast rule, and I can see a lot of situations, like I said, where it would be beneficial to the right hunter. So I hope this helps you make your decision. Either way, jump on down to the comments. Let me know what your opinion on this spotting scope battle is. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to see you back. But until next time, I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. See you later.